So, hello, I'm Jada, and welcome to the making of my collection. Throughout my life, I've made so many pieces, I've done collections, and I've done big projects, but this project specifically, it feels different. I like to compare it to if I was a musician, this would be equivalent to being my first album. It's the thing that I feel like is introducing me to the fashion industry. I feel like before this project, all I was doing was creating things, but I still didn't know who I was as a person. And so my brand and what I did, my craft, but now I do know who I am. So I look at this as my introduction. This all started back in November 2019. That time was a very important moment in my life because that was the month I got saved. And before then, I didn't believe in God, I didn't believe in anything. And honestly, God is the reason that I'm doing all of this right now. So I can't say or talk about this collection without first mentioning that it all has to do with and it's all centered around me getting saved. I feel like once that happened, my life, it changed for the better. I feel like God worked on me in so many ways. There were so many things that I dealt with and I struggled with that some I really didn't even know that I dealt with, but there were so many people in life to fulfill me that was never going to fulfill me, and I didn't even realize that while I was going through life, yeah, I was a happy person, yeah, I was a positive person and all of these things, but really on the inside, I needed God and I was looking for God. I didn't know it, but I feel like in life, we're all looking for something to fulfill us. And we go to all of these different things in life, whether it be parties or sex or drugs or whatever the case may be. We go to all these different things, and I realized like what I was looking for was actually God. Like once I got saved, that is what changed everything. That is what started this collection. The inspiration behind all of these pieces is actually words. When I first started working on the collection, I decided to write down what this relaunch, this rebrand, what it meant to me, and 7 words came to mind: identity, purpose, growth, confidence, transition, expression, and testimony. I want them to basically represent a part of my story, a part of my testimony, because all of these words that I've written down, they literally represent different parts of my story. And so that's what I want these pieces to look like. I want them to look like my story. The first piece is identity. And the meaning behind that piece is me realizing who I am. And I feel like at that time in my life, God honestly held up this big truth mirror in front of my face and he said, this is who you are. This is what you deal with. These are the things that you are carrying around with you in your life. These are the things that are hurting your heart. But he also showed me the good things about me. He showed me the things that he wanted to grow in me and develop in me. He showed me who he wanted me to be. And so identity really just has to do with me seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly. The second piece is purpose. I realized that my purpose was to be a light. Throughout my life, I just thought, well, I'm here to be a fashion designer. But even with that, I feel like there was no meaning behind it. I was just another person creating clothes. But now, all of that has changed because I know that I'm here to be a light. So even with me being a fashion designer and having this brand, I know that I am here to be a positive influence. I'm here to minister. I'm here to shed light in darkness. I'm here to influence and be a representation of God through the things that I do. I'm here to live set apart. When I realized that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my craft and the gifts that God has given me, it changed how I decided to carry my business or even carry myself, because now there's purpose behind what I do. The next piece is growth. And I want to say growth is the biggest thing that I had to deal with last year. And even now, I'm still growing every single day. But I always think how crazy it is because God made me grow so much in so many areas of my life in such a short amount of time. The areas that I had been wanting to grow in for so long, God made it happen for me. He literally came in my life and changed me. He literally came in my life and renewed me. Like, it was so obvious that God was present in my life because he was making so many changes in who I was. Like, he was forcing me to grow. And now God is continuing to transform me and make me so much better. Growth just has to do with that. Me getting out of my comfort zone, me being pushed to my limits, and God really working on me. The next piece is confidence, and that honestly just has to do with me going from this place of having a low confidence in myself, a low confidence in my craft, to finally being okay with being who I am, being the person that God has called me to be, relying on the visions that God has given me. I feel like over the past year or so, I've learned that God honestly does put a unique and amazing vision inside of all of us, but it's up to us to tap into it. And so I went from this place of not having any confidence, and I was afraid to try, I was afraid to create, I was afraid of being judged, and I was always comparing myself to other people and what they were creating and what they were doing. And now I'm able to hold my head up high because I know what God has put in me. And so I'm okay with being myself. Next, we have transition. And I feel like that can be so hard for people sometimes. I know it was hard for me, but for me, transition means literally leaving the old behind and stepping into the new. At first, it was kind of hard to leave behind my old ways of thinking and my old ways of living and trying to step into the new way God was calling me to live. It was so many habits and ways that I feel like I was just used to being. The last piece is expression. And whenever I talk about this word, I always like to say I imagine it with a little subtitle underneath it that says freedom. And so I view expression as wanting to express freedom, wanting to express what God has done for me, wanting to express love, wanting to express just being a representation of God. Like, all of these things, that is what expression has to do with. The final word is testimony, and that just has to do with this whole process. My testimony has been something else, and I'm thankful for it all. God really came in my life and just made it 10 times better. And I'm not saying that when you get saved, like, your life is automatically peaches and rainbows, because you still go through things. You're still tested. You still go through trials and things like that. And even with this project, like, it was a testimony within itself. Like, getting all of this to come together was not easy. There were long nights, there was crying, there was a lack of faith, and there was a rebuilding of faith. There were so many things that happened through all of this, but it is my testimony. That is why I named this collection Testimony, because that's what it is. I feel like I had to go through all of this work and the ups and the downs and just everything. All of these things just for you to see this beautiful outcome on the end. I'm grateful for everyone who participated. I'm grateful for everyone who supported this. And I'm grateful for God for even trusting me with this vision. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this.